Hi, welcome to this emergency 12 Days of Christmas Garden Guns video. For those of you with sharp eyes or that pay attention, you'll have noticed that, my day one video was released a day early by YouTube. I reset the start time for that and unfortunately it didn't take, and they released it a day early. So I've had to do a bonus extra day video. So this is day 1.5 of Christmas. Day 2 will come out on Sunday. So here we go. What am I talking about today? Well, I am talking about this classic piece of firearms, air gunning, firearms history. This is a Diana Model 27. And I believe that this particular rifle is from 1930. The Model 27 was made by the Diana company from 1910 to 1987, I believe. And Diana itself was a German airgun manufacturer. Originally they made household tools in the late 1800s, and then in the 1900s they transitioned into air guns. I think they did their first air gun at the end of the century, in the 19th century. So in the 1900s they were producing this, and the original Diana 27 came out in 1910. Diana itself had a bit of a checkered history. Obviously, we know there was an unfortunate incident, several unfortunate incidents in the 20th century, 2 world wars, both with Germany. And it resulted at the end of the Second World War, all firearms and all manufacture of any form of rifle or pistol was banned initially. And Diana effectively lost the rights to their name. And I believe it was picked up by the Marlboro company as it was back then. Diana later on, when the Germans were allowed to start making weapons again, to start making firearms again, Diana set up, and because they'd lost the rights to their name originally, Diana in Germany became the original airgun company, and in the UK it was known as Diana Original. So, which always confused me when I was young, is it Diana, is it Original? I didn't fully understand what the difference was, but thanks to the internet and being able to find stuff out, I managed to find out a little bit more about the company. Anyway, Diana then they got their name back and have been producing rifles, and they're now owned by GSG, which is German Sports Guns. So for those of you that might do a little bit of shooting, 2.2 rimfire shooting, you might be aware of the GSG brand or the GSG name. They produce 2.2 LR I always say replicas of stuff like the 1911. They have a 1911 in their range. I think that they've got a MP5, various different types of firearms, SIG firearms, that they've sort of copied and chambered into long rifle. So, and they now own Diana, and I believe are releasing Diana air guns in that name. Although I can't guarantee that those rifles are made in Germany. I've got a horrible feeling they're probably, like a lot of other things, are now made in China. But anyway, let's talk about this particular rifle. This is the Model 27. As I say, I think this one came from I think this is, from what I've been able to find out, I think this is a 1930s vintage, so it's pre-war. This particular rifle I am looking after for a friend of my son's, whose mum unfortunately doesn't like the idea of the boys having any form of air rifle or rifle in the house. For most, I presume most of you watching the channel will think that that's crazy. I certainly do. I think the most important thing is not having them in the house. It's making sure that they're respected and they're shot safely and in a safe manner and in a safe environment, and providing you teach your children to do that. And I think it's very, very important that happens. Then it shouldn't be a problem. You have to be able to trust your kids not to be idiots, though. Which, I was a bit of an idiot when I was a kid, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, let's talk about this. So, This was originally a blued rifle. Fortunately, it's got a bit of a patina on it now, but I can see that what remains of the bluing in places was certainly fantastic. But I quite like the patina defect. It's got a front sight that's adjustable for elevation. Unfortunately, there's no windage adjustment on this. This one, so this particular rifle's shooting off to the right, so I'm having to sort of do, was it Kentucky windage? I think they call it, where you actually aim off. So. Yeah, as I'm not a particularly brilliant shooter anyway, that really is pushing it. Nice little bit of wood. I think it might be walnut, I'm not sure. But anyway, nice bit of wood for the stock. There is no wooden foregrip on these rifles. It is literally hand on steel. It is a break barrel rifle, and it does have a metal butt pad on it. It's got an adjustable trigger. Trigger on this one, I haven't messed around with it. As I say, it's not mine. I'm just looking after it, but I have shot it a bit, and the trigger is heavy-ish. I could adjust it, but I'm more worried about manoeuvring something on this and it breaking. If you were to buy one of these in the shops today, I've seen them go anywhere from 120 in Gun Trader to, you know, I think I saw a shop trying to sell one of these for 250 quid the other day. But if you shop around, you'll be able to pick up something like this, like the Model 27, or, you know, a Webley Mark II service, or, you know, a early model BSA. I'm trying to think of BSA models off the top of my head. They seem to have all escaped me at the moment. But an early model BSA, of which they are, you know, there are quite a few decent rifles out there. You know, I personally, from the 50s and 60s, I think it is the Mark III Webley. I'm itching to get hold of one of those. I would love to get hold of a Mark II service as well. Anyway, so let's do a little bit of shooting. Let's see if I can hit those little tin men on the top of my my target, and then we'll have a quick summing up with this. Right, so I've got 4 little men sat up on top of the pallet down there. Gonna give myself 4 shots. Don't want to bore you guys too much. Let's see how I do. I'm starting to lose the light a little bit, so right. Okay. Come on, Neil. You can do it. Right. I'm going to pause the video there, have a deep breath, pat myself on the back a little bit, and come back to you in a second. Okay. I can't believe I managed to hit every single one of them with the 4 shots. I am dead chuffed with that, and that is precisely why owning a rifle like this, believe me, I've got my eye open for either a Webley Mark III or a Webley Mark II service rifle, or one of the BSA, earlier BSA models, or even if I can find another Diana 27 out there, because I do have to give this back to the young lad whose grandfather originally owned it. Yeah, basically, as soon as he's old enough and he's got his own place, this is waiting for you, mate. All right? Along with that HW35 that's currently in the gun safe as well. That's waiting for you too, and that shoots sweet. Anyway, why should you go and spend your hard-earned pennies on something like this? Well, I believe all old air rifles, all old rifles, but you know, especially all old air rifles deserve a good home where they get lots of love, care and attention. And if you can do anything this Christmas, then maybe that would be a good thing to do. If you've got the skills to be able to tinker with one of these and bring one back to life, then I salute you. More power to you. definitely try and keep these rifles going for the next generation of shooters. I know we're struggling with getting young people into this sport. It's really, really hard to compete against computer games and PlayStations and the like. They're getting kids out into the garden or down the range. It's it's an ask, but it's something I truly believe that we should try and do. Teaching the next generation good firearm safety and the enjoyment of shooting is something that I really strongly believe in, which is one of the reasons I try and make these videos as well. Unfortunately, looking at the demographics, I don't have many young people watching these videos. But anyway, that aside, for around about anywhere between 120, 250 quid, you can pick up a really good old air rifle that will put miles of smiles on your face, just like it did with me just now. You saw it. I'm gonna go and boast about that to my son later. Let's see if I can get him into the garden and have a crack and see if he can do it. But yeah, they are fantastic. They are great bits of fun, great bits of kit. They're a bit of history, and I think anybody that calls themselves an avid air gunner or an avid shooter should have at least one classic old school air rifle in their collection, just to pick up and go and shoot, to hark back to the old days. A bit like having a classic car. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all have an MG or something like that sitting there, or I don't know, anything that's out there, Morris Minor even. It doesn't have to be a sports car, but there's something about owning a classic that is enjoyable. And with that, I'm going to end my day 1.5 of my 12 days of Christmas, my emergency extra content video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this has been of interest, and I hope I've been able to persuade you guys to maybe keep an eye out for something like this in your local gun shop. Until then, the next video, which is tomorrow, but until then, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and all the best. Cheers.